And sing. Good morning. Oh, come on. Good morning. Because if you haven't had enough caffeine, there's plenty of Barney's coffee for you guys outside if you need to wake up. So welcome to 1 Million Cups. Just quick show of hands. How many of you are here for the first time? Wow, very cool. Well, welcome, welcome. Real quickly, I'll give you a quick rundown. This is a Kauffman Foundation for Entrepreneurship initiative that was launched almost 3 years ago in the U.S. We are just over a year and a half old, and there are now over 80 chapters throughout the U.S. When we launched a year and a half ago, we were the 11th chapter in the United States. So we're growing by leaps and bounds. This is not Shark Tank. This is Guppy Tank, and you can actually hashtag that. That would be very cool. And continue to push the word out on social media. This is a friendly, uplifting approach to helping entrepreneurs thrive in the community. We're not here to be destructive, but we're here to be constructive. The format is very simple. It's a 6 minutes presentation followed by a 20 minutes Q&A. Please wait for the microphone so that way we can continue and have the people who are watching us online follow with the questions, as well as for the presenters afterwards to go and listen to it once they're done. Presenting here is a really cool event because it now opens up the world to you. After presenting at a 1 Million Cups event, you are authorized and allowed to use the passport program and present at any of the other 1 Million Cups or cities, anywhere from Puerto Rico all the way to Anchorage, Alaska, and a bunch of cities in between. So it's a great, inexpensive way to spread your word and your message to the communities that you want to reach. We're all volunteers. I want to say all. David to my left, one of the organizers here. My name is Ron. Sitting over there, Stephanie, one of our new volunteers. Absent today are Jan and Angela, who had some urgent things that they had to take care of. And greeting us and joining us from Kansas City, one of our other organizers, Nancy. If everybody says hi, Nancy, really loud, she can hear that. There you go. So that will warm her up a little bit, considering it's a little bit chillier in Kansas City. So today I have a great treat for you. We have one of our alumni coming back to tell us a little bit what has happened since the last time they presented and how they've continued to grow. And he's an alum in a variety of different ways. He's also graduated from Rollins. So do me a favor, while the show goes on, go ahead and hashtag 1MC, tag at 1 Million Cups Orlando, and spread the word. And if you enjoy the coffee, don't forget to say to give a shout out to all our sponsors as well. And we'll talk a little bit more about some things between the two presenters. Adam, you ready? Let's welcome our next presenter, Adam.
Hey everyone, I'm Adam from FRESHeTECH. We've been here once before. Our company's grown, changed a little bit in pretty interesting ways. And to jump into it really quick, we launched about 3 years ago as a side project. We made a shower speaker, Bluetooth, that skips songs from it, answer phone calls from it. We weren't capitalized right. We started with a few $1,000s. We didn't really worry about manufacturing. We just found someone who could make it and said make it. And we didn't protect our IP. We just said let's make a bunch and sell a bunch really quickly. And there were consequences to that, but we drove a lot of sales. We built up a team quickly to 4 people, and we were able to build a good infrastructure. And past that infrastructure, we started working on new products and made sure what we did wrong here that led to significant amounts of knockoffs, we didn't do again wrong. And so this was our next shower speaker. It came out this past Christmas. We did a pre-order campaign. It sold over 2,000 units. It retails at $70 to put that in perspective for the 3-week pre-order campaign on our website. We launched with enough capital that we had from selling the original shower speaker. We're organically grown. We did protect our IP. We made sure we filed everything we needed to and did different techniques that we learned to protect ourselves. And we also got really good at manufacturing. We got a full-time staff member who works in China working with our 2 manufacturers, and we just learned the process and spent a lot of time, energy, and money to make sure we learned it. And also, there was a bunch of press that just covered us. And so this is our next speaker, or another speaker we launched. It's called All Terrain Sound. Again, we got really good at manufacturing. We've sold over 10,000 in the past 7 months. And just to show how well we've protected our IP and our manufacturing and the trust in that, we worked out a deal that's going to put us in Walmart, licensing it for Christmas this coming year. As I'm sure most of you can guess, Walmart's pretty strict with that stuff. And when we were doing this, we went around a couple years ago to 1 Million Cups and several of the other meetups, and we met a company, SmartTech Products, that were working on a selfie stick idea. They were having trouble with manufacturing and asked if we could help. And we said yes. We started working on a different, futuristic, better version of the selfie stick, lightweight, something that a girl could put in her purse, something that you'd actually want to carry that doesn't have Chinese packaging. And so we worked with them, and we realized we're organically grown, we're growing, but launching a product can cost $100,000, $150,000 when you factor in inventory, staff members, and all the costs. And that's where we said we can grow faster if we built a partnership program, which we call Build, Launch, Grow. Build is the manufacturing, the designing of the product. Launch is the infrastructure you need, and grow is sales. It's the lifeblood of any business. So this has quickly encompassed and become the largest part of our business. The speaker business is doing 7 figures of revenue a year right now. This is surpassing that. And just to walk you through the different steps that we do, this is where we're really experts in the build phase, getting your product from a concept to being manufactured. And this is something that we're really knowledgeable in and that we have a team to do, and that most companies that want to make a product and sell it, they need resources to get their product built, to many of these resources, but past that, they don't need someone who does 3D CAD models on their team all day. So these are things that we can help companies with, and we partner with them to help them in the stages that they don't have the resources for. Launch is the infrastructure, it's the fulfillment, it's the customer service strategies that you use, it's your e-commerce website. A lot of people can do this. We tell our clients what they may be able to do on their own, or they may want to go use someone else to do it. What they can't do, we'll help them with. And then grow. Grow is obviously the most important part of any business. It's the sales aspect of it. And so we work with our clients to make sure they have a good strategy for how they're going to go out in the market. What we've seen work for us, we make sure they do if they're in a similar market to us. And when it comes to wholesale e-commerce, we have a big Rolodex of companies we actively work with, and we leverage those relationships for our partners. So the Smart Eye Reach that you guys just saw, that product, for instance, was on Zulily 2 weeks ago, which we sell through. They were on Urban Daddy last week, which we connected them with. And so we actively put our partners through our e-commerce channels and retail channels. Our model's really simple. We figure out the scope of the project, the timeline of the project, and we figure out a flat rate that's basically our cost for developing that project. And we make our money in the long run. We mark up manufacturing 10%. We're transparent about it. It's 10% across the board. So when our clients make money, our partners make money, we make money. It's really simple. And we currently have 6 active partner companies that we're working with. One of them is a subsidiary of ours that went through the Techstars program, has raised 6 figures of revenue, or raised 6 figures of investment. And 3 of the 6 projects have been externally funded. 3 are internally funded by the founders. And I would love to entertain any questions people may have now. And just in the last minute I have or so, we have a few of the products that we've done here, and I'm happy to show them off more if anyone's interested.
As always, raise your hand if you have questions. Get them up there. Come on.
Congratulations. I was here when you did that previous presentation, and the maturity what I really love is that, and this is an interesting model for everyone else, is that you're leveraging the intellectual property called mistakes, mentors, and you're taking that so that you can help other people do what you did, because the hell that you go through basically determines what you can help other people to come out of, and there's ways to profit from doing it, and you're making a model of that. So congratulations. And I like the fact that you're getting into the critical path alliances. I didn't hear the words joint venture or strategic alliances, which are actually separate entities and purposes, but congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes, good presentation. It was strong and everything. I was just curious about, is there like any technology built in? Because I'm seeing like these are like monophonic type speakers. Is there like some type of technology that takes a stereo sound and kind of, I'm just curious about the quality of the sound.
So these speakers are waterproof, and after this event I'll let you hear them so you can hear them. They'll be the best sounding speakers you'll find that are waterproof. When you look at waterproof speakers compared to, let's say, a Bose, it'll be different quality because of the waterproofing nature of it. But with that said, the technology, I guess, in the partnering side comes down to what we're working on with our partners specifically. The subsidiary that I talked about, it's called Freedom Audio. Basically, we've built up a Rolodex of different IP related to customization of our operating system we built, and also the way it works with speakers. And so it's specific to, I guess, the project.
When you work with a partner, do you have to do all three pieces, or would you do just one? And are you only working in the electronics industry?
The first question, we don't have to do all three pieces. We specifically can help our partners in any way they need help. Normally and most likely, that's especially from the manufacturing side. Post that, if they want our help and we're just a manufacturer, we get the product up and they're off to the races. We like that. If they want our help when it comes to the sales channels, we also are comfortable doing that. We have that situation right now with a couple of our clients that aren't doing everything, our partners. And the second question was around technology, or are we only doing technology projects? No. The way we operate right now, we have 2 active factories that we're working with. Our full-time staff member in China is about 15 years of knowledge of sourcing, partnering with manufacturers, and that's where we can put her on a plane and have her go to any province, and we're working on one project right now that isn't technology.
Okay, I'll give you a question here. I know you showed some of your, or said some of the things that you think didn't go well. If you could pick one thing that you think you guys did really, really right, and one thing that you think is like the worst thing you did.
The thing that we did right was from day one, our sole focus was about selling. When we ramped up to 4 people, everyone sold. That was our #1 focus, driving sales. And I think that has got us to the point where even when we made a lot of mistakes, we were able to forgive them because we made a bunch of money anyway. So that made it pretty easy.
Money helps.
Yeah, money definitely helps in that realm. And it gave us the ability to spend a bunch to learn the right way to work with China. And past that, the thing we did really wrong is we went right to Alibaba, because obviously everyone knows that now. They're a public company, and we said, oh, here's a factory that's making an MP3 player. It does this, this, and this. It looks like what we need. Let's see if they can here's the chip that does Bluetooth. We gave them the whole formula. And we said, here you go, can you make us a few hundred of these? And they said, of course we can. Of course we'll protect your IP. Don't worry about it. And the minute we started doing really well, a seller from Hong Kong popped up on Amazon on our listing. And then they started bulk distributing them to competitors in the US. So that was one of the things we learned that was, we thought, a great quick solution, and it has still followed us till today.
What would be some of the bullet points you could say you did to protect your IP the second go-round?
Sure. So to protect our IP, the simplest is trademarked our names, and in the scope of things, really helps in a later stage. This helps if your knockoffs do appear on an Amazon.com or an e-commerce site like that. We can quickly get them removed off our listing. The second one is a design patent. They're really cheap to file. They're $1,200, and it's really worthwhile that, again, that's a later stage defense. If your product's made, shipped here, you can stop it from being sold on many platforms really quickly. When it comes to utility patents, they're obviously more valuable if you get them, and if a big company is violating your patent, but it's much more difficult to get, much more expensive. The ways past that is certification. So we have all the real Bluetooth certifications, FCC, CE, ROHS. So all of those regulatory things when you import product, if we flag others, hey, there are other knockoffs coming in, Bluetooth, make sure that they have our ABC in them. It normally, they'll catch it at the border coming into the US. We also, on all of our products now, inside of the molds, they have our patent number imprinted on them. So if one of our factories was making them in the back room and shipping them, and these arrived in the US, the factory is instantaneously going to go, no, that's some other factory copying us. We can crack open the unit and actually prove that it's coming from their factory. Because normally the factory owners don't want knockoffs. They're making money from you. Normally the employees on the assembly lines don't have the capabilities to. It's the managers there that do the knockoffs, that backroom products. And that's where we realize that if we can show the owners it's coming from them, they'll quickly stop it. The other aspects we do are all of our molds, when they're not being used, are locked in a third-party facility, and we verify that. So the only time a knockoff could be made at our factory is if they're running them back room at night, if our product's sitting there being made, and so that cuts down 95% of the time knockoffs could ever occur. So those are just some of the big basic things, and also having a person stationed in factories while you're doing the manufacturing run normally eliminates that, especially, and it's a really simple thing, but when they're of Chinese descent, it relates much, they relate, and you get the benefit of them feeling like they're working with someone who they know very well.
How many patents do you guys own? And then it sounds like you guys are well versed. Have you ever had to go after anybody? I mean, I know you can do like a cease and desist, but have you ever had to go to court and actually fight and go that route?
We have not had to go to court, fight that route. The positive is we've filed a bunch of design patents, I think in the realm of 6 or 7 now, maybe 8. With that said, they don't really need to be issued to get an Amazon.com, to get a third marketplace where everyone goes to buy things, to stop selling them. There are ways to work around it. When we have our design patent on our original shower speaker, people like Living Social worked out a way to have a company that's in Indonesia sell it, give a voucher to go buy it from there, and there are a lot of logistics that you'll see some marketplaces like that do. But by and large, if you come and drop a design patent that's not issued but pending, related to a product, unless they have one that's earlier, so unless you're the knockoff, you're going to be able to remove them.
Adam, great presentation. And I wanted to say that I'm a client of FRESHeTECH Consulting. Adam's helping us with Night Runner LED shoe lights. And what Adam didn't mention is that when you're going down this process as being an entrepreneur and starting a product, you have to do everything. And so fortunately, I'm learning from Adam's mistakes, thank you. But also, you don't have to be an expert in everything. So, and you can incrementally bite it off as you have funding, and that's kind of been the story with us and many entrepreneurs is you don't always have a huge fund of money to start out. You have incremental boosts of money, and what you do with that and how you move the ball forward is key. So Adam is helping us move the ball forward, so I want to thank you and mention that.
Well, I appreciate that, and I'll use you as an example. Night Runner, they presented last week. Doug also gets the benefit of he has to worry less about the manufacturing side, and it gives him the opportunity to do a Kickstarter campaign, which has been going really well for him, and also go out and just pound the pavement, get, I think it's 38 stores to pre-order his products. And so, again, That'll get them off to the races really quickly, and that's where we see ourselves being able to alleviate one of the biggest hurdles to starting a consumer product business.
Back here. So Adam, I'm one of the people that have been following what you've been doing since our encounter at Startup Weekend a while back, and we've had some conversations along the way, and one of the things that I think people in the room would benefit from is the explanation as to your go-to-market strategy. Because you talked about Amazon again and again, a lot of people don't realize the power of that marketplace. So can you share a little bit some of the wisdom that you've learned going that route?
Sure. So our original go-to-market strategy really originated with Amazon.com and our own e-commerce website. When it came to our own website, it was about writing blog entries, and it was junk content. You can get it written on Fiverr.com for $5. It was more about the SEO aspect of it, just repetitively, and we chose shower speakers as our term. Rather low competition. There's no one else who was talking about shower speakers every day. And so it quickly got us onto the first page of shower speakers because we were fighting a battle that no one else was actively doing. So that helped our website side of it. And similar on Amazon, we made sure that we had really good keywords. And again, at the time, there were a few shower speakers out there. No one was focused on making sure they were putting that word into their listing 30 times. And so that quickly got us really high ranked. For a while, we lowered our price to be selling it near cost. It drove a significant amount of sales. And with those sales, we use something called Feedback Genius, which is basically MailChimp for Amazon. And that allowed us to communicate with our customers, push them to write reviews, and we ramped up to about 1,500 reviews on Amazon, which made Amazon give us a really high priority listing, and it kind of got to the point where it was feeding itself. Nowadays, we realize that, and this is a much later stage issue, Amazon pushed us down because they want to just sell as many as they can for as cheap as they can. And so they moved us down from being a priority to being on like the 4th page, and it really hurt our sales. And the only sales we were getting from Amazon, we realized, were customers who would go to our website, price comparison on Amazon, and they'd rather have it 2-day ship by Amazon, who's much more trustworthy than our website in their perspective. They've never heard of us before they showed up on our website. So we stopped selling on Amazon. We sell directly to our website because customers find us there, and we want them to buy it from us. We make more money. But that's been a big piece of it. A huge part of our business has also been the wholesale e-commerce side of it. So the Zulily.com, Touch of Modern, Gilt, Fancy, Fab, One Kings Lane, all of those emailing websites, SheSteals.com, those type of websites are where we make a lot of money right now. Just they'll email us, we want to do a run, or we push them often, you should do a run of our product once a month, and they'll say yes. They'll buy 500 units, and they go worry about selling them. We sell them through wholesale. And the third piece, which is retail, we're newer to that. Our subsidiary is working on a deal with Best Buy, Metro Group, which has over 1,000 stores in the Best Buy of Europe, and also Target. But we're new to the big box area, but we've done small retail, a bunch of it, and the easiest way to get those connections and relationships and sales channels is conventions. Setting yourself up at the right convention, meeting the people, telling them we're a small guy compared to the guy who's next door who's got 20 times our booth, and we're going to call you once a month to make sure you're happy, and they won't.
So I'm going to piggyback on that on my last question. How easy was it to deal with Amazon when the knockoffs did show up?
Not easy at all. We probably spent days on the phone, literally full days. We would sit there, and it's one international phone center passing us to the next one, passing us to the next one. We finally got their attention when one of my fraternity brothers' boss was a VP at Amazon previously, and he goes, "Here's Jeff Bezos' email. Email him your story. Tell him how you feel about Amazon." And we emailed him. I'm sure he didn't read it, but someone who works for him did, and they gave us a specific account manager who said, "I see what's going on. Clearly, none of us have put eyes on it. We'll solve the problem." And they started helping.
Yeah, you were saying conventions were key. Is that how Walmart started?
No, so Walmart started from working with our factory. They have about 100 clients they actively sell through all the time. And so they've been begging us to do a licensing deal so they can go sell it to their 100 international clients. And for about, up until now, we've been pushing them off. And a company, iSound, approached them and said, we've got substantial US distribution and we're interested in it. They reached out to us and we agreed to that deal, and now we've kind of worked out a licensing deal with them because they can move more product internationally than we can, and so we're only making a small amount per unit, but at this point it's about the quantity game with that product, as we're looking at all-terrain sounds headed towards its downward side of the slope of its life cycle.
I have a question. Good morning, Adam. I have a two-part question. One, how did you know you were ready to go into China? How did you know you were big enough, you could afford it? And the second is, how hard was that to put into your business model?
We started working with China. I would love to manufacture here. We've explored making 2 products here. Sadly, it's not cost effective for us yet. At some point, I'd love to make a speaker that is, because especially going to the conventions, we were at the FLW fishing convention last week, we could have charged $20 more a unit because it would have been made in America. So we went to China on day 1, and the second part of the question, one more time. It was really difficult. I mean, at the beginning, we didn't know what we were doing, and then once we got past that, I guess, issue and we had some capital, we spent time to just get a lot of meetings with people who were doing manufacturing really right, and we leveraged a connection that passed us to someone in China, and we just kept meeting people until we found our employee who we now hired in China. And one of the simple tactics we used to find one of our factories that is a great factory, we were with them Rob and I were with them 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago in Vegas, was we actually saw a product that they designed, beautiful product, and we said our tactic is we're going to hunt around. We found 5 or 6 products that look great. We're going to see who won't sell us knockoffs of it. And we went on Alibaba, we emailed every factory, and just were like, hey, we love this product, can we buy it? And this was the one factory that said, no, someone's got rights to that, but we can figure out making you your own product. And that was our simple kind of test we did. We then had our employee go meet them, and everything kind of went well from there.
Well, Adam, we were towards the end of the presentation, and you've been here before, so you know what's coming. What can we as a community help you to continue in your journey?
What we need help with is just letting people know we're doing this now. So a lot of people in the community know we make and sell consumer products, and we've benefited a lot from just all of our clients are word of mouth. I think 4 out of the 6 are really local and 5 out of the 6 are Florida local. And so it's just conversation. When you hear someone's working on a product, something made in China, bring us up. If they're interested, please make an introduction, because that's helped us get to where we are today, and it'll help us grow.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So the continued ask for us is that you give a shout out to our sponsors, as you've been doing so far. So sitting over there in the corner, not paying attention right now, is Rudy. And I want you guys to give him a really, really, loud round of applause, because he's been here. Come on, yeah, he deserves it, yeah. So not only is Rudy living the dream as a startup founder and owner, he has been hard at work pushing his story and sharing his journey. And just recently, he did something really phenomenal. So catch him before he leaves and let him tell you about this, where he was last week. But he's been volunteering for months now, coming here to help us help you share your story online. And so for that, we're really appreciative. Thank you, Rudy. Of course, coffee. This is caffeinated, so without Barney's, we couldn't do this. And our landlord, Rollins, and Rollins ENT, so give them a shout out, please. Say thank you, because the more you guys help us tell them that we appreciate what they do, the more successful we'll be in maintaining this. Last but absolutely not least, our ask of you is to go follow us on social media. Connect with us on Facebook. We need likes. Share the posts. And more than anything else, tell your friends that this is a great platform for them to come and tell their story. As you'll see, this is an agnostic platform. We don't care if you're a tech company. We don't care if you make things. We don't care if you're making chimichurri sauces. And so with that introduction, I want you guys to welcome Isle of Salsa.
Thank you.
Here's the next presenter.
Morning. Good morning, everybody. My name is Gerard Martinez. I'm with Isle of Salsa. Join us after the presentation. We've got salsa and chimichurri for you guys outside. Our tagline is adventure for your mouth. Have you ever gone somewhere, a new city, a new place? Could even just be a restaurant in your town, and you just try something, it's just amazing, and you got to tell all your friends about it. It could be eating a hot dog in Coney Island on the 4th of July, waffles in Bruges, or even beignets at Café du Monde in New Orleans. You just want to tell everybody about it. Hey, you got to come see this place. When you come to this town, you got to try this place. We're in the age of Instagram and instant communication about food especially. So that's what we want to give people, the experience of an adventure. In our products, we produce salsas, sauces, and condiments. We have seasonal salsas throughout the year. We use the highest quality produce. We try to source as much locally from our local farmers, from One Farmer Farms, as possible. And our products are fresh, healthy, all natural, no preservatives, no artificial ingredients. So we started small. I was laid off, typical story. We started selling, we had a couple of friends. I was making salsas. I'm an amateur cook, and I've had restaurants in the past. I've been in the restaurant business. And so we started selling it to our church. We would get Ziploc containers at Publix. We'd make it in our kitchen, and we'd go into church on Sundays with salsas. And it just started taking off, started picking up. We started with our volcanic pineapple salsa. And soon we were doing farmers markets, we were doing events, and we started proving our concept that it was something that people would actually buy if we put it out there. Now we're doing Latin supermarkets, specialty food stores, we're doing restaurants. That's my son there at our farmers market, first farmers market we did over in Sand Lake. So our products, what we do is we have salsas. We have salsas that are based on different places around the world using exotic global ingredients. We have a Mediterranean salsa. We have a Thai lemongrass salsa, which is a Southeast Asian inspired salsa. We have a volcanic pineapple salsa, which is Polynesian, got a Polynesian vibe to it, and a little bit spicier. And then we have our chimichurris, which have taken off as our best sellers. We have two types of chimichurri, and if you don't know what chimichurri is, I'll go into it a little bit later. But it's an Argentine grilling sauce, and we have one from the East Coast from Buenos Aires, and we have one from the Andes region north of the wine country in Argentina called chimichurri rojo, which is a red chimichurri, which you don't usually see in this country. We also sell hummuses. We do different hummus all the time. Today we've got the rosemary red lentil hummus for you guys to try. We do our blackboard salsas, which are seasonal salsas. Today we've got our Florida strawberry salsa for you to try. And we do things in two sizes. We started with small tubs, which depending on the product range from 6 to 8 ounces. And then we started getting into gallon containers as we started selling it to restaurants and to hotels. So what needs are we addressing with our salsas? The US population wants healthier foods, novel flavors, and it's turning away from mass production pseudo food with all kinds of ingredients you can't pronounce. And people are looking for authenticity and character in their brands they buy. There's a big boom in the Latino population, and Latinos are looking for foods that are geared towards the Latin palate. And also the Generation Y Latinos, which are the generation that's been born in this country to immigrant parents, are looking, they're born into the American culture, so they're Americanized, but they're looking for a connection to their heritage, their parents' heritage, their grandparents' heritage. So we're riding that wave of basically 4 trends that are connecting. We're right in the middle of that. There's been a paradigm shift in the way America eats, and it's going towards the fresh, the all-natural, Hispanic, and it's all being driven by the changing demographics and the growth in the Hispanic population. We've got a big growth in the Hispanic population. By 2050, it's expected to be about 25% of the U.S. population is Hispanic or Hispanic heritage. We also are riding the Fresh and Wholesome movement, which includes organic, non-GMO, gluten-free, all that stuff. People are really starting to look a little bit deeper into the ingredient list on their foods, and that's where we provide a fresher alternative to what's already out there. There's a big demand for exotic and spicier foods, which also we are in there. And then there's the elevation of food as experience, as we showed at the beginning, where people are just, there's all kinds of food blogs, there's whole channels devoted to food on TV, and things like that, where people are really looking for an experience. They're looking for something different from the ordinary. There's been a mainstreaming of the ethnic ingredients. You know, you've seen in the past soy sauce, spaghetti and meatballs in the 50s, sriracha sauce lately. So those things come into people's refrigerators, and we want to be in there also. So in 2013, sales for salsa were 2-to-1 to ketchup. Tortillas and tacos outsell burger and hot dog buns now. Salsas and hot sauce occupied 10 out of the top 25 top-selling condiments. And tortilla chips now sell more than potato chips. So here's some market data backing up what we're trying to do. Hispanic foods and beverage industry was an $8 billion market in 2012, and it's forecast to be $11 billion in 2017. The pre-made salsa industry also has been growing from $764 million in 2010 to $907 million in 2014. And then there's the barbecue sauce industry, which we are in also with our chimichurri, which is was $2 billion in 2013 and grew 1.7% even through the recession years. The 4 largest companies own 56% of the barbecue market, and the rest of the market is spread out between small and mom and pop operators, and it's the same for the salsa business. So can you name a Latin barbecue sauce brand? You know, people know about mojo, which is a Cuban kind of ingredient that's used for roasting meats and that sort of thing. But usually that's something you put on before, and there's really no brand names that you can name right off the bat, and that's where we want to fit in with a la salsa chimichurri. So what the heck is chimichurri? Chimichurri is a sauce that is used in Argentina, and it was invented by an Englishman in the 1800s. So it's got this mystique to it. People say it started different ways, but as best as I could find, it was invented by an Englishman named Jimmy Curry. He was buying cattle in Argentina in the 1800s, before Argentina, when Argentina was still a Spanish colony. And they were having a barbecue with the gauchos. These are the typical Argentine barbecue right here, with, big slabs of meat and everything. We're famous for the barbecue. And Jimmy, being an Englishman and having the Indian colonies and the Southeast Asian colonies, are used to chutneys and all kinds of other spices, whereas the gauchos just put salt on the meat, ate the meat just how it was. That's, it's the whole elevating of the meat, the flavor of the meat. So he came out with, asking for things that were around. He got parsley, he got garlic that were growing there. He made a sauce out of it. It became Jimmy Curry's salsa. Salsa means sauce in Spanish. And then from there, it spread with the troops as General San Martin went through the Andes and met Simón Bolívar, General Bolívar up in Colombia, and it spread all through South America with the troops as they went through there. And the name chimichurri was what finally came out. It's almost like that telephone game. And anyway, so there's different regional recipes, and it's gone up all the way up to Colombia. Colombia, they put cilantro and parsley in there, but most recipes take parsley and garlic as the main ingredients. But we have room to grow there as far as our chimichurri line by using different regional recipes that are more familiar to the different cultures, because the Latin culture is very diverse. And you know, if you look at sriracha, Tabasco, soy sauce, they all have places on our pantries, and we feel that chimichurri can be there also. Now, we have a two-prong approach to our sales strategy, and this has come through trial and error, going through farmers markets and seeing what really is people are looking for. And we found that the chimichurri is, you know, we have people try all the salsas and they love it, and then they try the chimichurri. What do they buy? They always buy the chimichurri. So we started doing like a 3-for-1 deal as long as you have the chimichurri in there. And we started selling a lot of it. And it's just an easier recipe to make. The ingredients are lower cost. People don't normally use parsley other than a garnish here in this country. So we can get it really cheap and fresh. And when we distribute it, it has a longer shelf life than the salsas because of its high acidic content with the vinegar and the oil. So we've been pushing that more for our mass production. And then we've been doing the salsa and hummus. We've just been having as extra products that we can sell to raise the amount of sales per customer. So eventually we are going to be branding the chimichurri separately and as its own line. So that's basically it. We're wrapping up. The way we're looking to expand, we really want to get into the Latin barbecue sauce business. We think there's a big growth there with our chimichurri, and we're looking to start into Latin market and specialty food shops, restaurants, hotels, and caterers, and online. And then we're looking to expand out of Orlando into Tampa, Jacksonville, the rest of Florida, and then from there look into cities that have large Hispanic populations and target those. And then, our exit strategy is, if you look at the food business, there have been a lot of sales of big companies in the last few years. There have been offers for Jack's salsas, Garden Fresh salsa, for over $100 million 2 years ago. Ortega salsa sold for over $100 million in 2013. There's all kinds of Sabra hummus was bought by other companies, so that's where we're looking to exit out of the business.
Thank you. Please, now we're going to open it up for questions. Please raise your hand.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
I was so excited to see you presenting today. So I got your sales strategy. What's your marketing strategy? Like what? Yeah, because I heard you say branding, right? And so what is it that you're going to market yourself such that you stand out from everyone else?
So there's a little bit of a tricky situation there in that we're really small, and there's been a history in the food area of companies coming in and putting in a product. If they see there's a new area coming up, they put in a product there, and they basically drive you out of business. The food industry, it's a lot about placement in the supermarkets and that sort of thing. And these big companies have lots of money to spend. If you look at the beer aisle, especially, and there's a good show on Netflix, a documentary about how beer, Anheuser-Busch basically has bought the whole beer section, and a lot of the microbrews that you see out there are in fact Anheuser-Busch, but they put a different company on there. So they basically take up the whole spread, and then you can't get in there. So we've been kind of low-key about it, and we've been doing the marketing through grassroots. But as we're growing and putting a team together, and that's why we've got Miami as the last place in Florida, because there's already a couple of chimichurri makers in Miami. It's other Argentines that are making, but all of them. If you look in the supermarket, you'll see Badia, you'll see some other companies. They jar the chimichurri, so it's not fresh. And chimichurri is a fresh condiment that is put on top of the meat after you cook it, so it doesn't taste right. So I think we have a little advantage there. Most of the barbecue sauces out there have a lot of sugar. They're tomato-based. They're red. We're green. So we do want to go into the marketing and market it as a Latin barbecue sauce, a fresh barbecue sauce, the green barbecue sauce. So there's opportunity there to go that route. But it's just that we have to do it a little bit slowly and strategically so that we are not someone doesn't just come in and say, oh, look at that, there's money there, let me drive this person out of business. We want to grow large enough where we can be bought out. Yes.
2 quick questions. One, love the name. Who came up with that, and how'd you guys do that? And then
I love salsa or chimichurri?
I love salsa.
Salsa.
Yeah. And because I love salsa is very common Spanish. And then also the size of the chimichurri. Do you sell it in smaller cases or smaller servings? Because soy sauce, ketchup, salsa, they all last forever in your fridge. But chimichurri is probably a week.
No, actually, chimichurri will last 6 months.
6 months?
Yeah, 6 months. And that's the great thing about that. A lot of people don't realize it. And the fresh chimichurri will last about 6 months. We put 2 months on the expiration date there because we want the best flavor to come out, because it is fresh product. So the parsley starts degrading after about 2 months, and it doesn't look as appetizing. It's not as fresh looking where you see the bits of parsley all separated, and you'll see it when we have it out there. But it has longer shelf life than the salsa, which has 3 weeks, and that's really why we've decided, from our market data and from what our experience, to really push more for the chimichurri. We just think there's a lot more upside to the chimichurri side, and we do want to grow other brands. There's other sauces that we're looking at. There's a Peruvian green garlic sauce that's great for chicken, and there's a Chilean sauce called pebre, which is kind of an offshoot of chimichurri, but it's like a pico de gallo. It's got fresh tomatoes and stuff like that in there, which we'll start working on also as a follow-up. I love salsa name. It's just one of those things that it came to me in the shower one day. I was, and it really goes in. It's really deep in that it's a play on words. I love salsa. Isle of Salsa kind of goes to what we wanted to do. We were looking at different islands, different places around the world that are salsa, using those ingredients from that place, like our lemongrass salsa, which has like the Southeast Asian ingredients with lemongrass, carrots, shallots, and that sort of thing. And then also, we have a big Puerto Rican community here, and Puerto Rico is called Isla de Encanto, Isle of Enchantment. And so we were like, oh, an Isle of Salsa, a kind of familiar thing. And a lot of Puerto Ricans, a lot of the Caribbean lands do not know about chimichurri because it's not a Caribbean thing. It's a South American thing. So we have a lot of education that we do, but it does go to their taste. They're used to like the fresh vegetables and the salsas and stuff, so people are willing to try it. And the fame of the Argentine barbecue has spread, and there are a lot of Argentine restaurants in Puerto Rico. And they're like, oh, I've had this sauce in Puerto Rico. Oh wow, this is just like that restaurant. So we do get a lot of good play off of that. Yes.
As far as growing, how are you going to maintain your quality? Are you going to set up your own manufacturing? Are you going to contract?
That's a good question. Yeah, so those are kind of the things that we're going through now, and that's going to go into what we're asking of you. It's kind of like a juggling act, and one of the things I learned in going through the MBA program is, and I did it at UCF at Rollins. My wife's a Rollins graduate from the master's program here, but one of the things that you do is you look at where the bottlenecks are, and you kind of like go from one bottleneck to the other one and making it bigger and expanding. And being in business for a while, I've seen a lot of businesses fail because they can grow too fast, not just because they don't have enough capital. So we've just been kind of like, we improve on one side and on the other side. We do want to keep the quality, and that's the most important thing. That's the part that differentiates us. So a lot of people have suggested that I get a co-packer or stuff like that, and I've started a local food producers group where we have some people that do co-packing, and they're like, you should talk to this co-packer. But I want to keep the quality up, and we have one of the things that is kind of an advantage, a competitive advantage for us, is that we have connections with a lot of local farms, and we get the local farms to grow the parsley for us. We have like 5 local farms that are growing parsley for us. We've got different things that are locally, and we try to use local and try to grow that. And as we grow and expand, we're going to try to do the same thing in other parts of the country and use those local ingredients and kind of get that credibility, that community credibility there. Now, in the distribution, I think that's the area where we'll probably have someone do that for us, because that's something that you really don't need a lot of input. That they know that business, they have the connections, and we can leverage that. Does that answer your question? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so firstly, are you in any retailers yet? And aren't you worried that maybe taking on the salsa guys, the barbecue guys, and the hummus guys is maybe a little too much to bite off?
Yes and no. Well, yeah, that's the challenge of being in business. You're going to have competition. I was involved in starting a bagel chain in New Orleans when I came out of college at Tulane, and with a couple of my fraternity brothers, and there was another bagel store there, and we were all New Yorkers, and we had the New York background. We went into that. We had competition. We actually drove the other place out of business, and we were the first bagel shop there that really brought the New York style deli there. And the same kind of concept with this. There's a ton of people who make salsa. Every farmer's market I go to, there's another salsa competitor, but we differentiate ourselves because we don't make the Mexican style salsa. Everybody thinks of salsa as Mexican. Salsa is a Spanish word, means sauce. So we were looking at different kind of sauces, and we're trying to bring untraditional kind of stuff to that. There's nobody out there making chimichurri I go to, and that's where we see an opportunity. We are in retailers. We're in about 10 stores right now. We're starting with the Latin supermarkets because we don't have to pay for placement there. They're a little bit less sophisticated than the Publixes and the Winn-Dixies out there. So we see a really easy, low-hanging fruit kind of approach to this. They don't usually have people sampling there, so we kind of bring in, we go into their meat section, we put our chimichurri in the meat section. It's the only salsa in the meat section there, so people, it brings sales to them because we're sampling chimichurri in their meat section. People go, oh, you know what? I'm going to change my dinner plans. I'm going to make flank steak tonight, or I'm going to make sirloin or stuff like that. So it drives up their sales, and they notice that when we're sampling their meat department, they're selling a lot more meat. You'll see our aprons have big cow and the Argentine cuts on it. So we're really like pushing that. And we're bringing sampling. They let us come in. Some places you have to pay to do sampling. We just go in there and we show up. We make friends with the people there and with the people that are placing it, and they actually keep our product looking good on the shelves and stuff. So that's the route we're going. And then we're also going through hotels and restaurants where they sell it in bulk and they put it on their steaks and stuff. And then we hit the stores in the general area of where those restaurants are. So if people taste it at the restaurant, they can go into a supermarket nearby and actually buy it and take it home. Does that answer your question? Okay.
Okay.
Yes, Don.
Hey, Gerard.
Good morning.
What's really fun in life is watching people in the different phases of their life and seeing them when they come into the point of finding their passion, and you found it, buddy. Love to talk to you about the capital development and reverse engineering of this, but just a crazy idea. If you have 5 apples, and let's say those are 5 places selling barbecue, how does one of those places just stand out from the rest? And so picture you have 5 apples on 5 dishes. All you have to do is stick a toothpick in one, right? Mm-hmm. So you go to an Applebee's just for fun. No Chili's, whatever. Maybe that seems more appropriate. And you say, this is something that we should have in your place so that you stand out from the others because this is your toothpick in your apple. And now you have controlled production because you know how many locations, they can give you a forecast of what it is, and you're now co-branding. So the co-branding is elevating your brand up to the level of the brand that you're co-branding with. And instead of trying to get into a heavy-duty capital development program up front, you almost let their orders bootstrap it, and if you have to, you do factoring on the orders.
Yeah, use the synergies.
Yeah.
And we're actually doing that. We just did the Winter Park chili for charity cook-off a couple weeks ago, and we teamed up with the Black Bean Deli, who has a good reputation here in Winter Park. And we did a volcanic pineapple chili with our volcanic pineapple salsa, and then he made a Cuban pastelon, which I had never heard what that was before because it's not a South American thing, but it's a lasagna made with plantains, and we put the chili inside of that lasagna. And we got a lot of play off of that because everybody else did straight up chili, and we did something real out of the box.
Meet me at the Black Bean place.
And that kind of fit within our adventure for your mouth thing, and people are going, well, I never heard of you, but hey, we're on their radar now. So that's the kind of thing we're looking to do that. And I did think about Applebee's or things like that. Chimichurri is like the new thing. It's like sriracha chips, sriracha everything. And I think it could go further than that. the thing is, most people that the chimichurri that they have is not authentic, and it's some sort of take on chimichurri, and doesn't even have parsley in it. Most of the time, people think it has cilantro in it, but it doesn't. And so we're kind of educating people out there, and we're re-educating, because a lot of times we're out there sampling, we're saying, why don't you try this? We've got chimichurri, and they're like, I don't want chimichurri. I don't like chimichurri. And so we go a little further. We're like, well, where have you tried it before? Oh, I had the Badia chimichurri in the bottle, or I had the so-and-so. And I'm like, well, chimichurri is supposed to be fresh. It's not supposed to be, and then we kind of educate them, and they go, wow, this tastes completely different. So thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
I was wondering, what is your pricing strategy? How do your prices compare to your competitors?
Yeah, so that's one of those things that, going to business school, my idea all the start was like, you raise money, you go out there, you put your idea out there, and you start it out right. And with this, actually it took me $20 to start the business. I went out and bought some vegetables, some Ziploc containers at Publix, and made the salsa in my kitchen. So it was completely opposite of everything I had learned. But through that, and through the experience, and through the hard work and stuff, we kind of learned what we were doing. And we did use a marketing. We would price them higher, we'd price them lower. We finally settled at around $4 on retail price. Some of our, like Meat House over here in Winter Park sells it for $4.99 or something like that for the products. And so what we did is we tried to keep the price the same all the way across the board, but what we do is we put different amounts inside those containers. So like the chimichurri has 6 ounces, our hummus has 7 ounces, our salsa has 8 ounces, just depending on the price of the ingredients inside and what we think the use of them, how, salsa is more like a dip, whereas chimichurri put a teaspoon on stuff. Although sampling with tortilla chips, because meat is expensive, has opened up an opportunity that I never even envisioned. People are dipping the chimichurri, and we're actually selling a lot more chimichurri sampling it with chips than we would have if we were sampling it with steak, because people now see it as a dip instead of as a barbecue sauce. And pastor at my church goes through 1 week of those things. So that's our pricing strategy. Yes.
Being an Appalachian American,
yes,
Southern fat boy, I really appreciate barbecue.
Yep.
And my wife and I were recently out at an event, and there's this food truck that said, Argentinian barbecue, and I went over there and I'm like, what the hell's that green stuff? Have you gone to any of the barbecue restaurants, and there's a few in this town, and gone, hey, can I give you a month's worth of chimichurri just to see how it plays in your restaurant? Have you looked at really differentiating yourself within the actual barbecue market, like going to the barbecue cook-offs, and instead of using the barbecue sauce, bring in your
yes
or sponsoring those guys?
Yeah, I'm already there. I actually went to Lakeland Pig Fest last month in February, and I never heard of it, but Al from Fat Cat Hot Sauces said, hey, you should go to Pig Fest. It's a big barbecue festival. It's like 20,000, 30,000 people. So I went there. I was amazed. It was a 3-day event, and they have teams coming from all around the country, and they make all kinds of stuff. And we actually went to Whiskey Bent barbecue team, and the guy's got a barbecue radio show in Lakeland, and we gave him our chimichurri and our chimichurri rojo to sample. He loved it. Just trying to next year we're going to have a booth there selling choripan, which is Argentine. It's like a sausage on a Cuban bread with some chimichurri on top, to try to get that out there. It's a little bit of a harder sell because people are like very traditional, just like the chimichurri people are very traditional. This is how you eat meat. But we're trying to start the conversation. We are in a couple of Brazilian restaurants around town, and that's where we're. What? Yeah, so we are, and that's the next thing we're doing. We're going to go to different places. We tried this. There's this place called Pig Floyd's that opened up on Mills. That's more of a Latin barbecue. Went and talked to Thomas, the owner there. So we are starting to do that. So that's the next step. But we also have to have the production to be able to do the Applebee's and stuff like that. So that's where it's like kind of juggling. Thank you for the question.
So, first of all, I don't know if anybody else is like me, but I'm starving now. So, this is not your first time. You've been here too many times, for which, by the way, we thank you for your support of the startup community. But you know what's coming. What can we, as the community, do to further your journey and help you along your way?
Well, what I would like from you is some connections to some subject matter experts on certain things like food science, distribution, food processing, manufacturing, online sales, perishable shipping. That's kind of stuff that we're dealing with right now. We're looking to sell this in a national basis through our site, and also as we're looking to maybe prolong the shelf life, maybe we do a couple things naturally that can make the shelf life even longer, so we can be attractive to the bigger food companies that are looking to do it. And we can show them a way to do it naturally rather than adding all these crappy ingredients into the stuff. Connections to prospects, community governments. We're looking to expand our into the community, and also we're looking to start a Kickstarter campaign soon. We're planning on having a big Argentine barbecue, inviting our friends and our people to come in and experience that, and kind of as a kickoff for that. But we would like to talk to the people who have done the Kickstarter thing and Indiegogo, see if we can get something from that. And then, just kind of connections to potential team members. We're going to be looking to expand our team, and I want to find people. I don't want to just jump in, do a knee-jerk reaction, and jump in and just grab the first person. That we want to find someone that's got the personality and the kind of what we want in our company.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Aaron.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. So before we wrap this up, just a quick note, don't forget that hopefully you've all parked in the main parking structure across the street, which means that if you want to have free parking, pick up one of the little yellow passes that is sitting on the table. There's plenty for everyone, so just grab one of those and your parking will be free. Remember, our ask of you is go on our Facebook page, like it, go on our website and click to get on our newsletter, and you will not get spam. We typically send one email a week, and from time to time we send emails to help support some of our alumni that have gone on to do other things. So those are about the only times when we do that. And last but not least, each one of you bring a friend next week. There'll be plenty of coffee. Thank you. See you on Wednesday.